back, everyone. Welcome home.
Well, Scotland was great and the van worked a treat, but we've got a few little niggles we need to fix and some big jobs to do to prep her for the Arctic. So this week we're going to show you everything we think we'll need to survive -25.
You know the worst thing about travelling in a van? Driving around in a dirty van. So first things first, we need to get her washed.
Welcome back to sunny England, eh?
I can sleep easy tonight anyway. Bit better now. We're back, baby. We're back in the palace. But first big job of the day anyway is to fit the engine preheater. So you might have heard us talk about this a fair bit, but might not know exactly what it does. So I'll show you. So this is a Blue Peter Special, one I made earlier. So all an engine preheater's job is to warm the coolant. And the reason we want to do that is because the colder the temperature gets, the worse it is for the engine, because your engine oil's colder, obviously the coolant's cold, your engine block's cold, and when you start it up, the engine doesn't like it. It's bad on fuel consumption, it's bad for the actual block itself and all the running components. I could go into a lot deeper, but to be honest, it'd bore you. All you need to know is a warm engine is a good engine. Now for the diagram. So obviously we've got our engine here. This is the cab heater, which is almost like a little mini radiator. We've got the preheater, obviously the 12-volt battery, which is going to power it. The diesel tank is going to be plumbed into there, and all we're going to do is put a little T-piece on here, which goes to your night heater. Now don't worry, it won't starve the night heater or anything like that, because the pumps have almost got like a bit of a non-return on them. Now for the coolant system. So obviously this is where the engine is, and the coolant's in the engine. You've got your water pump, and that pumps coolant all the way around your radiator, around your engine, in through your cab heater and back down. And that's how we get it to run at proper temperature. But we want it to be at proper temperature before we start the engine. So what we do is we split this pipe here, and we come in to the engine preheater, and then that pump there will pump coolant all the way around the engine like this into a big loop now. So your engine's not running, but you've still got circulation, and this preheater is what's going to heat the coolant now. So obviously all the warm coolant is going to keep flowing until it's up to 80 degrees, and then not only we will have a warm engine, oils and everything like that, we'll also be able to have warm air in the cab. Now that's enough waffle, let's get it fitted.
So John's sorting her out so that she can start warm, but I need to sort her out so she can run warm, because the problem we've got where we're going is the air is so cold that when it runs through the radiator, it cools the coolant too much and messes with the engine running temperature. So I've got to create a physical barrier. I'm going to make a grill cover to go on the front of the van and stop the cold air from getting to the radiator. So I've got my basic shape cut out for the grill cover, and it's just made out of some reflective. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray glue on some of this heavy duty ripstop canvas. It's an artificial one. I used it in the Defender build actually, it's brilliant. I'll pop it in the Amazon shop. So I'm going to spray glue that to both sides, and then round the edges I'm going to use some of this webbing, and that should keep it nice and strong. It's actually just the end of a ratchet strap because they're always way too long, so we cut the ends off and I use them in my sewing.
So remember I was saying the engine wasn't getting hot because I think the thermostat's jammed open? Well, I've got a thermostat, it comes with all the housing and everything, so I'm going to change that at the same time while I'm doing the preheater. Well, I'll tell you what, days like today, well I remember, well I don't want to be a mechanic anymore, because that was an absolute nightmare to get on, so going back on is not going to be any better. But the good news, she's jammed open, so at least we found the fault. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but so you see that one there, that's obviously right at the very top there, in there. And then that one there is right at the bottom. And then another way I can show you as well, that one's sealed, and then this old one, so it's basically just bypassing the thermostat and leaking straight through, and that's why it wasn't warming up. So happy days. Unbelievable.
So the good news is she fits. So all I need to do now is I'm just going to punch some eyelets in the corners, and then don't tell John, but I'm going to attach it with some bungees because we need it to come on and off quickly on the road depending on the temperature. But that boy drove me mad while we were away because he gives me grief about being obsessed with tea, while he is obsessed with tools. Every B&Q we went past, he was staring at longingly. However, that obsession has come in handy for me today because he's got this brass eyelet punch and press, which is going to make this job a whole lot easier. Well, had a bit of an altercation with the sewing machine, but she's done and she's on. But I've decided I'm going to call it the John cover. And I tell you for why. Firstly, it was a total pain in the ass to make. Secondly, it's got skinny little legs on the bottom. And thirdly, it's a bit scruffy. It's not the prettiest, but it'll get the job done and it's useful.
Scruffy?
Yes, scruffy.
How can you call me scruffy?
Look at the state of it, right? Holes everywhere. Absolute filth as well. And you know, I had this cheek to say to me the other day, because we've obviously bought all of these clothes to go on this adventure, and he was like, do you think that we could maybe do like a partnership deal or get sponsored some clothes? Who is going to want to identify their brand with this?
Everyone knows I'm the fashion guru. I bet you're all dying to see me in that kilt again, aren't you?
That wasn't his kilt, by the way. That was my skirt.
But I've had an idea about merch, right? Because
No, it's a ridiculous idea.
I've had an idea about merch because we don't do merch and we're the worst YouTubers going. Should I tell them about my merch?
No, you should not tell them about
I'll tell you about my merch right there.
Here he comes, ready for his Dragon's Dens pitch.
So this is my merch. So what do you think? So it's an old work jumper, few stains on it, like, but I'm thinking, you know how they do like scruffy jeans, like ripped jeans? This will be that sort of style, so like bit of silicone, bit of paint, bit of oil and that. And we could do like a few, couldn't we? Because I've got a few old work jumpers. So there'll be like limited edition, so you'd have to get in quick to get them.
Who would want to wear that, John?
And I was thinking, if you're a bit of a fatty, you just have to cut the sleeves off and wear it as a bit of a tank top, but...
One size fits all,
yeah,
eh?
yeah. But I was thinking about 70 quid a jumper, what do you think? I think they'll sell out fast.
You know where they're going? In the rag bin, that's where they're going.
I could do shorts too. These are my personnel ones, Tesco finest, by the way. And if you didn't know, I don't wear pants, so little John's been flapping around like an elephant's trunk in there, wearing them in for you. 50 quid. Back to business. So I got the preheater fitted and I fitted it under the passenger seat. There's a big gap under there, and that's because Mercedes put them there from factory. And then all the wiring, I've just come up into the passenger seat because on these Sainsburys van Sprinters, they've got a spare battery under the passenger seat, and I think they run that for all the air conditioning and everything like that. So I've teed into that because then I'm not running off the starter battery and I'm also not running off the leisure battery. So that's all good. Now I'll show you the front. So I've removed the airbox so you can see it a bit better, but these two pipes here, this is that goes to your cab heater. And the one on the right hand side is the one that you want to tee into to go down to your preheater. So I've cut that, teed into it, and all the pipes have run to the preheater and it's all good. And the next thing you need to think about though is your coolant. So obviously in the UK, we probably only run down to maybe minus 15 if you're lucky. So you've got to replace your coolant. So get some concentrate coolant, not the pre-mixed stuff, and then you can mix this to whatever you want. So if you go 50-50 with this, it takes down to minus 34 degrees. So I've done that, and then if you get one of these little testers, you can test what temperature it goes down to, so you know you'll be all right. And then lastly, I'm going to mount my controller just at the bottom here. So all you got to do is just press the button, and then it will take about half an hour to warm up, but it'll go to about 80 degrees and then it'll switch off automatically. But then you'll have warm air at your heater, and then obviously your engine block will be about 80 degrees, so you're good to go.
So the next big bit of prep we need to talk to you about is clothes, which might seem a bit funny coming from us, especially John, but clothes is serious business where we're going, because if we don't have the right stuff, we could get ourselves into some proper trouble. So first thing to talk to you about is base layers. So base layers, you do not want cotton next to your skin because cotton is terrible thermally, and also when you sweat, if it gets wet, it won't dry. And then you can actually get freezing on your skin, which is really dangerous. So what you want is wool, preferably merino, get in the Aussies. So we've got merino base layers and merino socks. So let's go to your mid layer. And we're on to our mid layers. So this is where we're looking at our jumpers and things. So for your jumpers, again, wool is your best friend, but fleeces and things are great, especially your active wear ones that will wick away, because you do not want to sweat. You want to be able to take your layers on and off depending on what you're doing. Also, with your socks, so you want your thin ones underneath and then some big knee-high ones, thermal ski socks over the top. You could also add at this layer some fleecy trousers and things like that, but stay away from jeans, they'll make you cold. Let's go to the next layer.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. I wanted to dress up as Mrs. Claus, but Jess said she's sick of me wearing her clothes, so Santa Claus it has to be. But I've got a free giveaway for you. Let me get it. So remember last week we were telling you about this Karcher window vac and how much we love it? Well, we do. And after the video came out, Karcher kindly contacted us and said they'd give us a free one. But we said, we've already got one, so we don't need two, but we could do a free giveaway. And they was well up for it. So happy days, that's what we're gonna give away. So this is only to UK residents only, sorry, but we've got to post it. And all you got to do to win is just drop us a like, drop us a comment, and then we're just gonna pick a comment at random and then send it out to you. So we'll reply to your message on YouTube, so keep an eye on your messages. And yeah, hopefully you win, and Merry Christmas. But you didn't really think that I was going to listen to the General, did you? I wonder how many unsubscribers we're going to get for this one.
We're on to the second last layer. So this is where we're looking at some thin gloves. You would maybe put a down gilet on at this level, and your big jumpers and your pants. So your pants are most important to be windproof. Waterproof is great as well. These are some ski trousers, so they're nice and breathable as well. And also you want a snood, something you can pull up over your nose and your cheeks. I've also got this big old beefy balaclava. And we're on to the top layer. So let's work from the top down. So first you want a good insulated beanie. You're also probably going to want a head torch because it's going to be dark a lot of the time where we're going. And our hot tip on these is don't scrimp on them. We've had cheap ones in the past and they're a bit rubbish. Also, make sure you get a USB-C rechargeable one because they eat batteries. Then you want a nice big scarf, ideally a woolen one. Then you're looking at your gloves. So we've got some big ski gloves that go over the thin ones I showed you earlier. But we also are going to get some mittens because mittens are the best because they keep your fingers together in all one big insulated package rather than separating them. So we're going to get those when we get to the cold countries. Also, I've got a ski jacket, which is great because it's movable and breathable, so for when we want to go on hikes or anything like that. But I also have a big down jacket that you've probably seen me wearing before. Then the last little bit to show you is my ski boots. So these are Sorel boots. We had a hot tip to get them from Gary, and I'll show you them properly in a second because I need to put my normal clothes back on because I'm about to melt. Whew, that's a bit better. I was melting. I don't think I'm going to be saying that for the next couple of months. But let me show you these boots as a last little thing. So Gary, like I said, that recommended them, he lives in Norway, so you can't get much better recommendation than that. But what's great about them, if you're looking for a pair of boots, is that they've got these like removable slippers. So these are really well thermally insulated, and then this bit is fully waterproof. So we love them, and they're quite comfy as well. Did want to say thank you to everyone though for all of your comments. We've had so much helpful information and reassuring information to help us plan this. If you see anything we've forgotten, please do put it in the comments because we're planning on buying a few more bits once we get out there to the cold countries that have got the really good gear. So on top of all of that clothing, we've got a big old list of gear and mods that we've made that we need to tell you about. So
whoa, whoa, whoa. Before she starts waffling again, you've been missing it. I've been missing it. Time for a bit of triple T. Till Talk Tuesday. Bit of Talk Tuesday. So this week we're talking about drills, but not ordinary ones. This little beauty. Now this is called a mag drill, and the reason they call it that is because they've got this little switch here. When you press it, it magnets to the workpiece, and it's absolutely solid. Now I used to use these when we were working on lorries because we mounted them horizontally on the chassis, and that's how we used to drill to move all the fifth wheel beds and things like that. Now really are a good bit of kit, and the best thing about them is you can drill big holes with them because that's a 35mm drill bit. Now obviously your normal drills is obviously a 13mm chuck in it, so that's as big as you can go. You can get big gutbuster drills, but if you ever try to use one of them, when they bite, they hurt. Another good thing about it is in the drill itself, in the drill bit, you get this little pin that goes through. So obviously, when it's in the middle of the drill bit, when you're going down, you can get it millimetre perfect on your workpiece as well. All in all, brilliant little bit of kit for the workshop.
So like I was trying to tell you, the first thing we're going to take is some sleeping bags. We've got a big old duvet and a big old blanket, but these are our backup plan.
Next, recovery gear. So I've put the towing eye on, and I know you're not meant to recover off this properly, but it's just in case we get caught on a bit of ice or anything like that can pull us out. Then got a fold up mat in case you need to get under the vehicle. We've got straps. I've got a hand winch as well in case we need to pull ourselves out. Then we've got some more straps, some tools, and also a battery jump starter as well. And last one, some recovery boards.
Next one is your snow chains. So you need these to go on some specific roads, and they're great to have in your kit for recovery if you get stuck. Hot tip though, make sure you do a test fit before you need them, so you're not slipping around in the ice and snow trying to figure them out, because they're a bit of a faff. Also, obviously make sure you put them on your driving wheels, and if you've only got a 2-wheel drive, you only need 2 of them. The other thing that you'll need everywhere in all of the countries we're going to is to have some good winter tyres. So you'll know they're winter tyres because they have an M&S and a little snowflake symbol on them, and the best ones are your 3 peaks, so they've also got a little mountain symbol too.
So we're going to take 20 litres of spare diesel with us because obviously we've got the night heater and the preheater, and if we get stuck in a blizzard or anything like that, we'd rather be safe than sorry. But you need to swap it out as soon as you get to a country where it starts to get a bit colder, because obviously they stick an additive into diesel to stop it waxing, but obviously the colder it gets, the more additive they put in.
Next is snow management. So we've got 3-in-1, brush, ice scraper and snow shovel. So this is because it's illegal to drive with snow built up on your roof. Also, we need to clean off the solar. But the top tip we've got for you is to make sure you leave your snow shovel somewhere you can reach it in case you get snowed in.
So we're going to take an 18-volt blower so we can blow off snow and things like that, and also an 18-volt heat gun. So this is a bit of an emergency one where if locks are frozen or pipes are frozen or anything like that.
Simple one to know, but screen wash, because we only go to about -10 in this country, so you need the big nasty -30. We did have a hot tip though, if we get stuck we can just add some vodka.
Next is the diesel heater. We're going to take a brand new spare unit with us just in case, and I definitely recommend getting one that's either thermostat controlled or sticking an afterburner on it like we did, so then we can turn it on when we leave and we're not going to turn it off until we get back.
So any tank that's outside is pretty much guaranteed to freeze, but just because they're inside doesn't mean they're safe either. You need to get them up off the floor so the air can circulate around them. We've also put vents into all of our cupboards so that the warm air can circulate around in those too. What we've also done as a fail-safe is into our garage, which is at most risk of getting cold, we've fitted a fan to the vent which has got a temperature switch on it, which will automatically switch on if the temperature drops below 5 degrees. So it will pull the nice warm air in and make sure we don't get any frozen pipes.
So next is battery setup. So obviously we're going with 200 amps of lithium, and we think that's going to be enough after a test in Scotland, but obviously we've left the space in case we need to get another one. And our fail-safe is the 240-volt hookup, so if we're running low we can just go to a campsite and hook up and charge up again.
Thermal window coverings. I wasn't going to bother with these because we've put double glazed windows in, but I bought the Reflectix anyway to make the front grille cover, so I thought I may as well whip some up quickly. They just slot in here behind these blinds, and it'll be interesting to see how much difference they do actually make.
Next one, and probably one of the most important, is being able to close your living off to the front of the cab, because the front of the cab with the big windows is probably one of the weakest points for letting the cold air in. So if you can't board it off like we have done, then get a thermal curtain, or I've even seen people use sleeping bags. Sunglasses, because if you didn't know, you can go snowblind. Also, the old chapstick for the old chap lips, and also some sun cream.
So last, but definitely not least, is our water spigot key. And this one is thanks to Simon, who told us that in Scandinavia, there's lots of places where you can get free water, but you need one of these beauties to access it. So thanks very much, mate. That's going to save us a bunch.
Just realised Jess is breaking the rules again.
What about?
Tool reviewing.
Oh my God's sake.
£3 from Screwfix. But we're going to have to leave you there anyway, because I've got to go get all the merch ready for all the orders that I'm going to get.
The merch is not happening, but it is the end of the video. We just wanted to make this video about the information because, as you can see, there's a lot gone into making sure that this trip's going to work. So on that note, make sure you come back next week because that's when the adventure begins.